Hi guys, let's look at a pattern called the Seesaw today. In this position, material-wise, black has much more right now, but it is white's turn to move, and white is actually in big advantage because of the Seesaw pattern. Let's see this in action. First, white goes rook g7 check. Now black has only one legal move, which is king h8, and the problem is because of the bishop on e5, when the white rook moves, it will give a discovered check the bishop, so that black has to move back to g8. And now white rook is free to take anything on the 7 rank and anything on the g file. So rook takes d7. And again, discover check. Now kings go back to g8. And now the great thing about this pattern is that, well, it's called the seesaw pattern because basically the pattern can be repeated as many times as white likes. So rook g7 check again. King h8. And now white will clean up all the materials that black has on the 7th rank for free by repeating the same pattern again and again. And notice the back and forth movement of the rook, which gives the pattern its namesake, the seesaw. And now that white has cleaned up all the materials on black 7th rank, it's time for a final free move, right? And usually people will just look for things that are not guarded. Here, the bishop on b6 are things that are not guarded. So the last move, last best move is probably rook b7. Come with the discover check. King has to go back to g8. And now rook takes b6. And now clearly white is winning easily. Up 4 pawns basically. So technically it's not a checkmate pattern. But when it happens, it's so devastating that it's almost like a pseudo checkmate. Black is still alive, but so much material is lost, and white is clearly winning. Now let's practice the seesaw pattern with more complicated and more interesting positions than this one. Okay guys, another position. Black to move and to win with the seesaw pattern. Feel free to pause the video if you want to figure things out on your own first. Okay, so in this position, we have a bishop on d5. Which control this diagonal already. And as we can see from earlier, then we preferably should have a rook on the 7 file. And the great thing here is that this queen that is guarding this square, the e2 square, is actually pinned by our queen. So we can do rook e2 here. Now queen cannot take, so white's best option is probably queen takes b6. And now the seesaw is ready. First, black goes rook takes g2, check. Only legal move by white is king h1. And now black will clean up white's material on the 2nd rank with the seesaw pattern that we see. And not only that, we will get our queen back. And in this position, black is clearly winning, up 3 pawns. And white still has problem with this position. Okay, let's look at another position. This one is actually from Game of the Century by Bobby Fischer. So some of you might be familiar with it because yeah, it's so famous. And here the point of me showing this position is I just want to show that the seesaw is possible with other pieces beside the rook. Here Fischer goes bishop e6, basically sacrificing the queen, which is why it's called the Game of the Century. White goes to take Fischer's queen on b6. Bishop takes b6. And now bishop takes c4 check. King g1, only move. The e file is guarded, so the king cannot go there. And now there is a seesaw pattern with the bishop and the knight. So knight e2 check. King back to f1. Knight takes d4 check. King g1. Knight e2 check. King f1 and knight c3 check, king g1, and only now Fischer goes a takes b6. Unlike the previous positions, here Fischer actually doesn't win that much material. Material is quite equal here, as you can see, but position-wise, black has overwhelming advantage here. But what I want to show is just that the seesaw pattern is also possible with a bishop and a knight. instead of just a bishop and a rook as we saw earlier. Okay guys, last position to practice the Seesaw pattern. This one is from last course game in 1925, played in Moscow. White to move and to win with the Seesaw pattern. Please feel free to pause the video if you would like to figure things out on your own first. Okay, remember what we need for the Seesaw pattern. We need a bishop on this diagonal, and we need a rook either on the 7 rank or on the G file. Well, we already have a rook on the G file. So here to set up the Seesaw pattern, white goes bishop f6, essentially sacrificing the queen. Of course, if pawn takes bishop, then we got a free queen. So black takes the queen, queen takes h5, and now the Seesaw pattern is ready. Rook takes g7 check, king h8, rook takes f7 check, king g8, and yeah, white is basically cleaning up the material on black 7 rank. The white leave the pawn on the a7. White can take it if he wants to. It's just I think Lasker doesn't want to open the a file. So here he goes rook g7 check, rook h8, and finally getting his queen back. And now at the end of the Seesaw pattern, as you can see, white is up significantly in material and winning decisively. Okay guys, that's all for Seesaw pattern. As you can see in this video, it's really a nasty pattern if you can find it in a real game. It's like all you can eat, you know, it's like a buffet where you clean up the materials on the G files on the 7 rank. Please do subscribe to my channel, and please do like the video if you like this kind of content. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you guys for watching.